Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Gnoggin, and tonight explaining every Gen 9 Pokemon name. So yeah, Gen 9 is Scarlet Violet for everyone who knows. So, we're about to see the reason behind everyone's names, so how about we take a look and see what their names actually mean and what they stand for. So be sure to like, subscribe for more, hope you enjoy. Let's see the meaning behind the Paldea names.
I love Pokemon etymology. We go into so much detail about it on this channel, and now that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are out, it's time we go over the new Pokemon and explain what their names mean. What root words do they use? From what languages? What hidden meanings could we decipher through their names? And also what is super obvious. Let's find out. But first, context. In case you don't know, this game takes place in the Paldea region, which is based on the Iberian Peninsula, which is modern-day Spain and Portugal. So not only will we see some Spanish and Portuguese words used even in their English names, but we'll also see things from the cultures they historically got a bit involved with. Let's begin. Sprigatito. Gatito is Spanish for little cat or kitten, and a sprig is a small stem with little leaves. You often see sprigs used in fancy decor, which is important for later. Florigato. Gato is Portuguese and Spanish for cat. In fact, the languages do share quite a few words, so I might just say one
And
when
I see
need
flora
both.
in there for
But
a
this
flower.
gato is flora, a scientific way to describe plants as a whole. Meowscarada or Meowscarada
Escarada?
is a fancy, masked, masquerading cat, which says meow. The mask also somewhat resembles mascara, eyelash makeup that makes them appear bigger. Mascara was invented in France, but the guy chose to give it a Spanish name, it being Spanish for mask. Fuecoco. Fuego is Spanish for fire, and cocodrilo is Spanish for crocodile, though it can also refer to the head or a coconut. But also, Coco is the name of a Spanish and Portuguese folklore boogeyman-like monster, which sort of resembles a short and stubby crocodile. Crocalor. Also, I'm probably going to be mispronouncing plenty of the non-English words, and even plenty of the English ones. But it's still a crocodile, and calor is Spanish for heat or warmth, which one would need to incubate an egg. Skeledirge. Well, skeleton for sure, and a dirge is a mournful or sad piece of music, especially one that laments for the dead. Think funeral music, or perhaps like the many poems, lullabies, songs, and bits of music written about Coco stealing children away. Very fitting of its ghost type. Quaxley!
Hey!
It's a duckling, they say quack, and perhaps this one uses hair wax to keep its fluffy feathers up. Also, it sounds like Braxley, a name often associated with little boys, just like the sailor outfit it wears. Quaxwell. Ah, swell. An ocean current. Wax and quack again, but it sounds like Maxwell this time, another common boy name. Or perhaps it's just saying it quacks very well. Quaquaval. Okay, here we go. Still quacks, but also we get aqua in there, as in aquatic, and its swimming skills are like a caravel, a Portuguese sailing ship, and it's got the decor and dance style of a Brazilian carnival dancer, as it uses the Portuguese spelling of carnival. Wattrel. It's a petrol, and it's electric type, so it's got watts, a measurement of electricity. Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel is a bigger petrol and a bigger measurement of electricity. A kilowatt. Nimble is a nymph, which is a young grasshopper, and it's nimble, which means athletic and dexterous. Is it low-key, or is it low kicks? Now, either way works, and I love that. It's a locust, and low kicks are pretty rude, fitting of the dark type. Or, being low-key means something is quiet or subdued, perhaps even sneaky, also fitting of the dark type. And so is the Norse god Loki, if that has anything to do with it. Squawkabilly! It's a rockabilly-playing bird that says squawk. Rockabilly being essentially the Elvis genre. Lechonk. Lay is essentially French for the, so it is the chunk, the absolute unit, a big chunk of ham. Oink oink. Speaking of, lechon is Spanish for piglet, especially one that is cooked. Oinkalone. Oink is the sound pigs make, and these ones use smelly cologne from their tails. The name also makes me think of baloney, but that might not be related. Oinkalone. Tarantula is a tarantula that's round, and I like that it looks like an old man yarn ball. After all, you can knit in the round. That's a knitting term. Spidops. It's a spider that spins thread during stealth
Or as
operations.
Faye likes to call it, the daddy long leg
Or perhaps
Pokemon.
it too appearing like an old man is purposeful. The ops pulling from pops, slang for dad or granddad.
Something like that.
But also the suffix ops means eye, and it's a spider with special eyes.
I have special eyes.
But also, there are a number of spider genera with ops in the name, like the
Fair enough.
Brazilian predatornops, which have similarly shaped heads, or the selenops, or the Dainopus, which, like it, are net-casting
eyes.
spiders. So I guess if you broke down the name, it really is Spider, joining the likes of Dark and Turtle. It may also involve spin tops. Palmy pulls from
Hey,
Nezumi,
Palmy.
which is Japanese for mouse, as well as palm, or paw, because it uses the palms of its paws a lot. Pamo is mo, or more, palmy. Mo can also mean also in Japanese. This is also palmy. It's pamo, hence it being so similar. But also mouse in Portuguese is rato, so it could just come from that.
Pamo.
Or it's a marmot dynamo. And palmot has big, important paws, and is even more so a marmot. It's really only missing the S, and it could be most. Palmost. The most a pommy can be. Smolive.
A small olive.
It's a small olive. D'olive?
Okay, doll
Oh, it's a
olives,
doll of an olive.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna go through these
Arbolavia.
fast.
Arbol is Spanish for tree, and I
we go.
mean, it's a whole olive branch. And it's feminine, which is what the suffix means. Or it's a diva. Both
Bolivia.
work. Knackly is a fun one. It's salt rock. And
Oh,
table
yeah,
salt
this
is
is
sodium chloride,
chloride.
which going by the periodic
NaCl,
table
see?
is NaCl. Knackle. The I is then added to make it sound like a name, and is diminutive.
Knackly.
Makes it sound like a young and small thing. It's little. Knackle stack is a stack of
knackli and
knackly,
stack.
a stack of salt rock. And garganackle is a gargantuan stack of salt. And it can also be noted that knackle gives big native Mesoamerican language vibes. I'm going to butcher these, but think Aztecatl words like axolotl, Quetzalcoatl.
Garganackle.
The L's usually silent from what I hear, so I guess
Quetzalcoatl?
Ehicats, which is wind.
I mean, not really
Most
wind,
people who
considering
don't know
it's
the
like
language do
rock,
pronounce the
so-
L. But here's the Huixtoctequatl. It's the god of salt.
Quetzalcoatl? I'm not. Yeah, it's
Tekpotl
like a
is
dot.
flint. You get the idea, though. Words like this are very common in the region.
Tekpotl?
There's a lot of lottles and a lot of coddles.
Yeah, that's
and none of them are
tongue
perfectly
twister. Whew.
NaCl, but they give the same vibe, you know?
Yeah, it
Garganackle
does.
also sounds a bit like tabernacle, which is a place of worship, so similar to the
considering
Mesoamerican
the
temples Garganackle
size of it,
resembles.
yeah, you can
But
actually
that also
see
brings up
tabernacle in there.
Mesopotamian ziggurats and golems.
Oh.
Fido. Well, Fido is a very common
Fido
dog
and
name,
Baldo.
and this one is made of dough. Perhaps even phyllo dough. Dash bun. Oh, cute little baked buns from a bunt pan. And a dash hound. Mastiff. Mastiff is a Spanish mastiff. That's the breed of dog it is, though it also
is
pulls from the more
huge.
well-known bull mastiff. A mastiff either way.
Actually looks
And this
similar.
one is in the mafia. It's into mischief. Perhaps it's even
Mastiff,
a chief
okay, yeah,
mastiff
yeah.
because it evolves into Mabostiff. Who's a
Mabostiff.
boss mastiff. My boss mastiff.
Okay, boss.
A mob boss
Shut up.
mastiff from the Italian mafia.
It actually does
with
look like a mob
stiff
boss.
body
Like,
because
all
it's
right,
so
here's
big.
what we're gonna do.
Ma is also
Mastiff.
bad in
Get 'em.
Portuguese. It's a bad dog. Hence the dark type. Grievard sounds like graveyard, but also it's a briard. That's the dog breed,
Grievard.
and it grieves for the death of others. But also it is grieves. When making medieval peasant candles out of animal fat,
Oh.
one of the byproducts is
Oh, it's
called
the candle,
grieves,
I
and
see.
today grieves are mostly used to make dog food. Houndstone. It's a hound
Tombstone,
and a
hound, and a headstone.
also known as a headstone. Flittle is little, and to flit about is to move swiftly and lightly, which is what small birds do. Espathra has ESP, extrasensory
yeah.
perception, because it's
Espathra?
psychic type. It's also a bit of a
curious about that part,
telepath.
oh.
Espar is Spanish for to spread, as it spreads its ostrichy wings, and Espathra may pull from modern interpretations of Cleopatra as well. I mean, look at the
Cleopatra.
haircut.
Oh,
Plus, a
yeah, I
lot
can
of
actually
modern
see the
psychics
semblance
attribute
now.
a lot of psychic stuff to the Egyptians. Think tarot cards and cipher manuscripts and such.
True.
Plus, she was the queen of one of the richest cultures at the time,
Mm-hmm.
very high class, very high fashion, and they had ostriches. Finizen. Finizen is a citizen.
Citizen,
with
Finn,
fin.
and a dolphin.
Being a citizen is noteworthy because Palafin is a
Big one.
superhero dolphin, and it's
Paladin.
pal.
Oh.
And perhaps being a superhero means it acts like a paladin. Guinea ghouls.
Did anyone else notice, like, Palafin? Like, I haven't gotten one yet, but anyone else notice that kind of looks like All Might in a way? let me show you real fast. Sorry, but you could actually, I think that would look like All Might from My Hero Academia. I mean, he's like, I am here. Like, it does look like it. Maybe? What do you guys think? I'm trying to figure out, like, the heads and tails of this thing, but I feel like there's, like, a certain superhero influence with this, but for me, it definitely feels like All Might, but if you guys, like, any other alternatives, let me know in the comments by timestamping this. Just, let me know, because I could definitely see some All Might in there. Other than that, I really can't think of anything else. Anyway, so, sorry, I always keep forgetting to do this, so we're just gonna keep going with Gimme Ghoul.
It says gimme gimme. It wants your...
Sorry about that, gonna try that again.
Hero means it acts like a paladin.
There you
Gimme
go.
Ghoul says gimme gimme. It wants your coins, and it's a little
Like Mr.
ghoul
Krabs.
with a gimmick. You gotta give it so many coins to evolve it into Goldengo. Still a ghoul,
Dango.
but one made of gold. It's golden, and it's got a snowboard. So I guess it's like
Don't
going
remember that.
fast. Golden, go! Yeah, Dango is Portuguese and refers to a display of sadness or loneliness, specifically to get affection. Or a dengoso is a person who is sly and cunning, or gentle and affectionate, or fussy and whiny, or seductive.
just like
but I don't
Gimme
think that one applies here. But that's specifically Brazil's take on the word, which was originally dengue, as in dengue fever, an illness which is said to be caused by
Plus, I
an evil
think that
spirit,
area has actually
a ghost
been
or a ghoul,
under
which
Spanish
makes
rule
people
back in the
act
day.
in all of those ways. And honestly, those are some
Makes
things
sense.
people do to try and get money out of others, which may be the idea here. Vroom. Vroom. That's the sound.
Vroom,
that
vroom.
makes. Vroom vroom. And its metal pipe body is perhaps deformed,
Varus.
bent. It's Varus. Rev-a-vroom goes vroom, and it revs its engine. Tadbulb. It's a light bulb
Rev-a-vroom.
and a tadpole.
Actually, now I remember, I
Belly
remember
bolt. It stores lightning bolts in its big
looks like an
belly.
avocado.
Cetoddle toddles around because it's a toddler. A baby whale,
Cetops?
which are all cetaceans,
Cetoddle.
aquatic
Oh,
mammals,
cetacean, thank you.
whales. And cetitan is a titanic cetacean. Perhaps a cetus, a classic Greek sea monster that we get the word cetacean from.
Makes sense.
Tink is a tiny little fairy, like Tinkerbell, but it's also
Tinker,
literally a
tinker, tinker,
tinkerer,
tinker, the
which
rat.
you call someone who enjoys building, experimenting, or repairing machines and their parts, like a tinsmith. Like
So wouldn't that
Tinkerbell.
make the
It does
same
build itself
noise
metal
you get for
hammers,
rattle,
or I
tinka
guess
tink?
right now it's more like a baby rattle, but it sounds like tinka tinka tink. And
Yeah.
Tinka Tough is now a tough tinkerer, going tink 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 with its big hammer. Also, it is so pink. And then Tinka Ton tinkers a ton and hits with Megaton
Man, Amy would
force.
love that
There may
Pokemon.
also be a Pinkerton union busting reference in the name. It was the Industrial Revolution, and they did have
Yeah,
the first female
union busting
detective,
with a
and they
hammer.
were
Okay, I
famously
see.
hired by the Spanish government.
Thanks.
But more
I'm
of those
ready to get one of
details
these
in their own
guys.
video. Relore is roller backwards because dung beetles
And
walk
dung-
backwards when rolling dung. And Robska is scarab with the syllables swapped around.
Robs-
Bramblin
okay, never
is a
mind.
soul trapped in a bramble bush, the same way like Applin is in an apple. Also, to go brambling is to go picking berries off of bramble bushes, like blackberries. But also, it's a rambling man. It wanders because it's a tumbleweed, rambling around.
Sorry, I didn't- I didn't get
Bramblegast is both a bramble bush
Yikes.
and a ghast, which is a type of evil spirit. And really, its existence is what makes me a
you
ghast.
really okay about that?
Capsicid. It's a kid, and it's a capsicum, which is the
Capsicum.
genus of
What?
plants that bell peppers and
a
chilies
new
are
one.
in. They've got capsaicin,
Oh, capsicum.
the molecules
Oh.
that makes peppers spicy. Scovillain is a villain, a
Scoville?
bad guy,
Villain.
specifically in the context of shows and theater.
Also,
and it's one
I
on
get
the
2 heads.
Scoville scale, which is how you measure how spicy something is. Flamigo. It's a flamingo, and it's a friend, which is amigo in Spanish. Glinnet is pretty. It glimmers in the light, as it's like a garnet. And Glimora is ore, and
Roma.
glimmers even
Ore
more.
and more.
And Amora is a
There you
somewhat
go.
common girl name, which
That's
pulls from the
amore.
French word
Sorry, I
amour,
had to be done.
which is to love. Mora is also a Mexican Spanish way
That's
to refer to a
amore.
woman, though in a
Oh.
rude context. But also, it's a genus of South American trees, many of which flower, as they are flora. Charcadet, with its charcoal-colored
Hey,
legs and
Charcadet.
head.
Okay.
It's fire type, so it chars
Charcoal,
things.
car,
And
and
it's a
cadet.
little cadet, which is a young trainee in the military or police force.
Got that one.
Arma Rouge not Armor Rogue. I keep wanting to say Armor Rogue, but it's not.
No.
It's Armor Rouge. Rouge is the color that it is. It's red, and it has armor. Specifically, it's using the Portuguese and Spanish word for armor here, armadura. Notice the second A. But also, arma de fogo is Portuguese for gun, and Arma Rouge is able to turn its armor into a Mega Man-style gun. It's like us calling guns arms. And Ceruledge. It's got a sword with a sharp edge. And it's cerulean.
I'm definitely getting that when I get
the color that it is. Tandemaus. Using the German spelling of mouse, I see, and they are in tandem,
It's looking like a mouse,
together
I'm
as
not
a
surprised.
couple, as they are one Pokemon. And Mousehold is a few mouses holding hands and forming a household. Shroodle! Ooh, it's a shrew! Or a flying tree shrew, or a mouse lemur, and one that likes to doodle and be shrewd. Very fitting of the dark type. Graphii is an ii that puts graffiti all over the forest, making the forest resemble the Oma forest in Spain, a big art project that's near the Urdaibai Nature Reserve, which it may also be pulling from. Wiglet is a white, wiggly water diglet. It's little, and Wug Trio. I actually hate this. It's a wiggly Doug trio. There's 3 of them, so it's a trio. But like, both of these names just replace the D's with W's. But you know what?
Easy.
It works. Do you want to know what a wug is? In folk taxonomy or cryptozoology, a wug is a worm-like or insect-like creature. So yes, it works. Toadskool resembles a tentacool, but instead of tentacles, it has toes.
The hell?
It is toad, and also it's a mushroom.
Tentacool is going on land.
Toadskruel, then, resembles a tentacruel, but is also toad. Orthworm sounds like earthworm, but also it's made of metal ore, and orth means straight, correct,
That's what you said.
since it stands upright. Bombardier is a bird and a bombarder. Someone who drops bombs from high up. Veluza. Veloz is Spanish for fast or swift. And it's a jaque, a super common fish that people eat a lot. In Spain, they call them merluza. Cloth has claws, and its back resembles the place it lives, the cliffside. It's cloth. A clawed cliff. Tatsugiri is a little nigiri dragon, the fish on rice. Tatsu then means to stand or to erect, which it does on top of its rice-like bed, and it also is Japanese for dragon, and nigirizushi is sushi. Dondozo is big, like a big don, Spanish for lord, but it's also slow and kinda lazy. Dozy. Dozo is also a Japanese word that can mean go ahead, or take this, or go get it, help yourself, and such, which is notable because it teams up with a Tatsugiri that lives inside of its mouth and gives it commands. Dozo, it says, go get it. It's a command. And then, in this Japanese context, don can also mean bowl, especially a bowl of rice, which, like, it is, now that there's a Tatsugiri in it. Frigivax's whole evolutionary line has a frigid backside. Also, dragon names in fiction often end with ax, Parthenax, Vermithrax, Fortisax, Cyrax, and plenty more. And not only does it sound big and scary like a dragon monster, but its etymology is fitting too. In Latin, the suffix ax was used to form adjectives expressing a tendency or inclination to the action of the root verb. For example, edo is to eat, a verb, but make it edax, and now it means voracious or gluttonous, an adjective describing intent. Frigibax intends to make you frigid. And its evolution, Arctobax, is as cold as the Arctic and intends on making its surroundings just as cold. Also, when something is abaxial, it means it goes away from the body's axis, like the underside stem of a leaf or the outer edges of toes. It's got those fancy wrist fingers like that and a big axe-like spine on its back, but also it's kind of like the Beckel spine axe, which you could shorten to Bax, I suppose. And actually, just like with the dragons, there's plenty of dinosaurs that end with X for similar reasons. But then its evolution, Baxcalibur, puts the Bax in front. Well, its axe-like back is powerful, like the mythical sword in the stone Excalibur. And also, it's like the most obvious homage to Godzilla, right? Only it breathes ice breath instead of nuclear radiation breath. But maybe that radiation is still reflected in its name. Backscatter is a term in physics and radiology. It's what radiation particles do when passing through other atoms and they get deflected. Apparently, ultra-cold atoms, meaning near 0 degrees Kelvin, do it best. but I definitely gotta do more research into that. For now, the name could also be pulling from backsword, which was the most common sword in Western Europe for a time, due to them just being so cheap. They are mostly associated with England, but then again, so is Excalibur, which is obviously referenced in the name. Oh well, can't spend all day here. If you know something better than me here, please let me know. I'm struggling, generally, but also with this
Sounds
Pokemon.
right.
Let's do a simple one now. Cyclizar. It's a bicycle lizard. Wow. Annihilate. It's an ape, and it will annihilate you.
Yeah,
Or
it
maybe
looks like it's about to annihilate us.
annihilted, since it's ghost
I
type.
will say,
Clodsire. Like Quagsire,
Clodsire.
it too is a sire,
siren,
or
and
rather,
clod.
a siren, a genus of salamanders. And this one is a big dirt clod. A ball of dirt, Dunsparce. So if we lay out Dunsparce, we can attribute different parts of its body to different letters in its name. So this is Dunsparce, this is Dunsparce, this is Dunsparce, and this is Sparsarsars. But really though, it's a dunce. It's stupid, and it makes itself sparse, spread out. And also a dun is a young mayfly, or a dark and gloomy place, which is where it likes to live after all. The repeated syllable in the evolution's name could just be because of the repeating body segments. Farragarith, or Farigarath if you're like me and are always mixing up these letters. But, haha, it's a giraffe.
It's a giraffe!
And it's a palindrome. The word is the same forwards as it is backwards. It evolved
we all
from
saw the
giraffe
video, so we're good.
and now its name is just that, but inside out. And upon evolving, its tail kind of like goes inside out and up its body, so the name reflects that by being turned
Just
inside
that
out. And King Gambit,
Whoa!
oh man,
Man,
this is now
Bisharp
one of the
really
new worst
leveled
Pokemon
up.
names.
Whew. Look at that.
Ew. It's like a
Shogun,
king
I can
chess
see
piece,
that.
as it evolves
King's
from a
Gambit.
pawn and a bishop, and a King's Gambit is one of chess's most popular opening strategies. Now, forgive these pronunciations. Xinglu, Xian
Xinglu,
Wo
Xian
Xian,
Pao,
Qi
Wu
Yu.
Qian,
Okay,
Xing Wu.
we learn in Chinese now. What are these four even doing
Ting-
here? You'll have to wait for their video.
Xian
So one
Pao.
thing about Chinese is that when romanizing
yeah.
the language, meaning taking one of their words and writing it in our letters, a lot of nuance gets lost. In Chinese, how you say a word can change its meaning, and that inflection gets a bit lost when written out in the English alphabet.
Thanks.
The closest example I could think of would be our few homonyms, words that are said and spelled the same but have a different
meaning.
Like duck and duck. When you tell someone to duck, you
Ah,
say
yeah.
duck, but if you see a duck on the side of the road,
hey,
you say
duck.
duck. Okay, maybe not the best example. Perhaps
know what I mean.
read and red? Tear and tear?
Maybe not.
No. We don't really have a perfect equivalent. Think of it this way. Chinese
So I heard a
is
sword.
mostly stinking homonyms, but you can specify which one you mean
Inflection
by the
and
inflection you
context.
give the word, as well as the context
Okay,
around it.
why
We've
not?
previously done a video explaining the Mandarin Chinese Pokemon names from Kanto, and you can really hear these specific inflections in the way their names are said.
妙蛙花，小火龙，火恐龙。
So basically, I'm gonna try my best here, but obviously I'm not from West Taiwan, so I might be off a bit. Ting Lu can refer to
Ting
a
Lu.
straightened
I
up
think just go
road,
with Ting
or
Lu,
the
yeah.
straight and narrow
Sounds
path
like
of
it.
life. If this
Ting
creature
Lo,
were to
or-
stumble, the contents
I
of
mean,
the
don't
bowl
see the
would
abbreviation,
spill.
so we'll just go with Ting
It's a
Lu.
very Confucius way of thinking,
You know,
IMO.
Queen,
Or I
Lu.
guess
Yeah, we'll go with Ting Lu.
INSKOTSTBHMOA. But Lu also means deer, and Ting can also mean stiff, erected, or endurance, which its wind-eroded rocky body has certainly been doing. And it can also refer to a cauldron, which it has.
So a ding
It's
and a
cauldron
ting.
elk.
I mean,
thing.
you can definitely see the cauldron there.
Next, we'll look
What's
at
that?
Qi Yu. Qi can mean
Yu,
breath,
yeah.
but also to eat/destroy or absorb, which it
Qi,
does
yeah.
to the ground that it
Qi
melts
can pretty
to
much
swim
be
through,
said a lot of
creating
ways.
ponds
And spelled
of
too.
lava. Pond or
Qi,
puddle being another
Qi,
meaning of
you
the
know what I mean,
word
right?
Qi. But also it
Qi,
can
yeah.
mean red or scarlet, which it is, as well as
Burning,
burn
yeah.
or blaze, which it does. Yu
What
then
about the yu,
means
though?
jade, the material around its eyes, and it can also mean fish. And when combined
And
like
Qi
Yu,
Yu.
you get
And it
goldfish.
gets Qi Yu.
Yeah. Xian Pao means to
Xian
live
Pao.
a simple or uncomplicated life.
Xian, yeah.
Its Pokédex mentions it
Xian
innocently
Pao.
plays and causes
We'll go with that.
avalanches, but it's unaware of the problems it causes. It runs away or flees
I
from
think I
them,
get it. This
which
is supposed to be
another
like
meaning
the
of Pao,
ominous things,
which
right?
Can also
You can actually
mean
see the
to
design
leak
in the
or
background,
evaporate,
too.
which snow certainly does when it melts.
Yeah.
But if we change how the word is
Xian
romanized,
Pao.
for instance, Pao into Bao, It now
yeah,
means
actually spelled
leopard.
leopard.
And then changing chen to shen, now it can mean snow. It's a snow leopard. And lastly,
Cool.
wo
Wu
shen.
shen.
The shen here can mean imitate, but it can also mean bush.
Shen Sao,
But like,
bush.
it's a snail
You can see the
imitating
bush.
a bush. So
Imitate
definitely
take
all of
shape
these Pokemon
Xiang.
are taking in various meanings of the words they
snail,
are pulling
yep.
from, which is perhaps
Wu
why they
Chang.
stuck with the Chinese
Or
names
Wu
here.
Chang.
It's the only way to get all
Chang.
of their meaning
We'll
across.
just go with Chang.
Wo can also mean to
Wu.
make dirty,
Wo.
or
Yeah,
to
true.
enrich soil, or lettuce, or snail. And those brown things around its shell
Man,
are also
I gotta say,
bamboo
they did well
slips.
here.
My gosh,
Wu
I am
Jian,
extremely
okay,
excited
bamboo
to do a
slips.
deep dive into these guys. But I definitely have to
kidding.
learn how to properly
I mean,
pronounce
this
these
pretty
words
much just
before
fits
then.
all of it. Huh.
But for now, we've only got 2 more Pokemon. The box legendaries.
Oh, yeah.
Koraidon and Miraidon. The Dawn is the
Rhydon,
top
yep.
dog, the
Leader.
lord, the leader, especially in Spanish-speaking areas. And when
Korai
combined with the
and
name's
Mirai.
middle syllable, Rai, it sounds like ride on, because you ride around
Right
on
on,
them.
baby!
Korai and Mirai then
Oh,
are
yeah,
Japanese
past,
for past
future.
and future. And those are the names of the new Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet Explained. Though I always miss something, so let me know what that was down below. And while down there, why not check out our Patreon and merch store, Gnoggin.net. We're running out of funding. Help!
Yo, wait, hey, yo, what about like Screamtail, or Roaring Moon, Iron Thorns, Iron Moth?
Do you seriously need me to explain those?
No, but you can't say you covered every new Pokemon without them.
All right, fine.
Fine.
Great Tusk. Brute Bonnet. A bonnet is this hat.
Yeah.
Sandy Shocks. Screamtail. Fluttermane. Slitherwing.
Yeah, they're pretty much
Roaring Moon.
self-explanatory.
Iron Treads. Iron Moth. Iron Hands. Iron Jugules, which means the throat or neck. Iron Thorns. Iron Bundle. Iron Valiant, which means courage or determination.
You done?
Happy now? Well, there you have it.
Might as well recover your pieces there, why not? Yeah, I actually haven't really seen those Paradox Pokemon yet, but if I remember correctly, you can only see them in the new game plus, if I remember correctly, or at least post-game. I'll see more about that later, but for now, I think that's about it. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you guys think of these Pokemon names. Fit? Not? Let me know. Till next time, guys, I'll see you around. Night, everybody.